Hi, so happy to have you here today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
First off, Commissioner Bonilla, thank you for having me. I welcome the opportunity to speak to residents about the services and how we engage communities in the Neighborhood Services Division. My name is Jason Reynolds. I'm the manager of the Neighborhood Services Division, where we actively engage and strengthen neighborhoods.
And so you're here to speak about the code compliance today. Could you tell us a little bit about that division and what their focus is?
One of the sections of the Neighborhood Services Division is the Code Compliance section. The Code Compliance section actively works with residents of this community to address violations that are impacting public health, safety, and the welfare of our community.
What is the best way to report a code violation?
That's a fantastic question, and thank you. The best way to report a code violation is through 311. 311 is Orange County's customer service center and is a very robust public-facing customer service operation. When a resident calls in a code violation, they'll speak to someone. That call is routed directly to the staff person who is handling that area. Residents can also make contact through an app, or they can also do it on the webpage. Believe it or not, that is more efficient than calling me or calling your commissioner's office. And here's why. If you see a code violation in your neighborhood and you call your commissioner's office will then forward it to staff, who will then have to forward it to the appropriate person, and that you will lose time. If you call it in, it is immediately routed to the staff person. So there have been instances where a code violation is called in and it's routed to the staff person in the field, and they're at the site to conduct an inspection within a couple hours.
And there's a new law where you can't do it anonymously either. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Correct. A couple years ago, the Florida legislature passed a law that code violations cannot be reported anonymously. So although that does create some challenges, we are working around that. And when residents call 311 to make a complaint, the staff person does know to ask them for their last name. And if residents are contacting me about violations, I say to them, just so you're aware, we do need to have your contact information. And for the most part, residents are okay with that. And the benefit of having the contact information associated with the case is if the staff person conducting the inspection has questions or needs more information, they can contact the resident to ask when this is occurring, how this is occurring, or collect more information. Although it is a requirement that code violations cannot be reported anonymously, we are working around that, and we have seen ways that does act as a benefit to staff doing their jobs.
Are there any situations where they can do it anonymously?
Yeah, so if the code violation being reported is an imminent threat to public health and safety, they can be reported anonymously. So we do take those, and we do have staff vetting those calls to ensure that this is a call that is an imminent threat to public health and safety.
Is there anything else that you would like to share?
One of the things I would love to share about the code compliance operation is the staff people who are in the community are ambassadors, they're problem solvers, and they're bringing education. If many residents don't realize what they're doing on their property is a code violation, or when the staff person lets them know, they're usually through a conversation and they send something in the mail letting them know what the violation is and the path to compliance. And we are here to assist, providing guidance and support to help the resident bring that violation into compliance. Our goal is compliance. And we get compliance about 95% of the time across Orange County. And I just want residents to realize that our goal is compliance, and letting them realize the importance of these zoning codes to address public health, safety, and quality of life issues.
So you're not there to smack them on the hand. You're there to help them through the process.
Correct. I think that is a misnomer about what the code process is and what the code inspectors are doing. They don't have authority to enforce. They are there to bring information and answer questions. Usually it's through a conversation, and the customer service is top of mind and paramount to our operation because again, most residents aren't aware that it's a code violation. And sometimes residents get defensive because no one wants to see someone showing up at their door. But we've de-escalated and had great conversations by simply letting people understand why these violations are in place, and that there is usually a path to come into compliance.
Thank you so much. Some great information.
You're welcome. And again, Commissioner, I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to come on your show to speak to residents about the services offered from the Neighborhood Services Division.
Thanks. So we are continuing our interview on code compliance. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Megan Marshall. I'm the Chief Inspector for the Code Compliance Section in the Neighborhood Services Division. I've been with the county for about 17 years and 12 of those with code compliance.
I was talking with Jason about the different types of code violations that you can report being anonymous. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So the type of code violations that you can report anonymously are imminent health threats, such as unsecured green pools, houses nearing collapse. Sometimes those are houses that have recently caught on fire and are unsecured, and generally a public health safety issue for the general public, not just for the individual residing inside. But some people do have big issues with their apartments and also single-family residences that they're residing inside of. So renters can also reach out to us for inspections.
What are some of the common issues that you find, some of those violations that don't really include well, we could talk a little bit about the tall grass too, and trash. But besides those, what else do you get? What's common?
Commonly, unfortunately, is a lot of unpermitted work. So I would always suggest if you are using a contractor, reach out to them, make sure you get a copy of the permit that they're supposed to be working underneath. And the same thing with the homeowners. They're also supposed to be pulling permits for any work that's conducted on their property. And a lot of times it's fences.
And what's your advice for anyone who's trying to get some work done and they're depending on maybe that contractor to get the permit? Should you just always check anyway, just in case?
Because it's happening on your private property and you are ultimately the one that's going to be held responsible, and not only by the county, but also your insurance company may look into situations like that as well. You always want to make sure that somebody is licensed and they're pulling the permits. You can check your addresses on the Fast Track website and you can see what permits are active on your property. If they should be posted on the property, but if they're not, you can double check that way.
And if someone is under a violation because of that, are they going to get fined right away, or is there a grace period for them to be able to correct the problem?
Our main goal is compliance. So we always want to work with the citizens on time to come into compliance. So we do have to work underneath Florida Statute 162. It states that we can't give longer than 30 days before we take it to a hearing. Sometimes those hearings are a little bit postponed. So we'll always give the homeowner and the contractor time to come into compliance before taking it to a hearing. Once it's been heard at a hearing, either by the Code Enforcement Board or the Special Magistrate, those boards will put a fine amount and a final deadline on the property before the property is actually fined. So there is quite some time to come into compliance before you reach that.
And what if you're not able to come into compliance in time and you're really trying? Is there a way to get these fines waived if you eventually do get into compliance?
There is a way for the property owners to seek a fine reduction once they've worked diligently to bring the property into compliance.
Back in January of 2023, we did have another interview, and there's been some updates since then. Can you tell us about those updates?
We have seen a significant increase in citizens using the 311 call center and the app, more specifically the app, because they're able to actually upload the real-time photos that they're taking out there.
But let's talk about the app a little bit. It really is a great feature that Orange County has to be able to help people with their customer service needs. And like you said, they could take pictures. It also has GPS, right, that shows where you are.
Correct.
Which then reports it to 311. Makes it so much easier for you all to find exactly where the situation is, have the pictures, and be able to respond.
Correct. And oftentimes it's a violation that goes across a couple different departments, so it can get to those departments a lot faster. So we'll get it immediately, and then if we see that it also crosses, but maybe they forgot to dispatch it to a different department like Public Works for any kind of sidewalk issue, then we'll make sure that they're aware of it and send it to them immediately.
Is there anything else that you would like to share? How can people learn more?
Just to visit our website, orangecountyfl.net. Or if you ever are in the area, you can stop by our office. We're at 2450 West 33rd Street in downtown-ish Orlando.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time to be here and sharing this important information.
Thank you.
If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe to our channel and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts.